Well, after a long hiatus, we're finally back. And with The Exorcist having yet another entry coming out, we decided to take a look back at the original 1973 version of The Exorcist.
And we are your hosts. I am Corey, and this is my partner here who has been described as a creamier, more masculine version of Lizzo, if Lizzo did movie reviews on YouTube. Hey, wanted you to feel.
I'd probably be more upset if Lizzo wasn't as talented as she was. So I'll take it. I'll take it. If I can be considered as talented as Lizzo, although don't ask me to sing, I'll take it.
Yes. So I went into this thing. Okay, let me tell you a story first of all.
Okay.
Something I remember about this movie.
Sure.
I remember I must have been 14 or 15 because I don't think I could drive yet.
Okay.
And my cousin's my same age as me. Her birthday is a little bit later than mine. She was having a birthday party.
Okay.
And I went to it. It was me and all these girls.
Hey,
and I was like,
good ratio. Yeah.
The first part of it, we went to like something that was similar to Chuck E. Cheese or Godfather. I can't remember what it used to be.
Probably Showbiz Pizza.
Yes, Showbiz Pizza. There we go.
For the pizza and stay for the fun.
I remember I was kind of hiding and everything. I was kind of shy and everything, and all the girls were having fun. And I went home early from there and let the girls do their stuff. And then they came home back to her house, and we were all sitting around, and I wanted to watch Exorcist.
Oh, he is such a ladies' man.
So we get downstairs, we
Yeah.
sit, we turn on the movie, we're sitting there, we're watching it, and we're talking, and there's like one or two girls I'm interacting with talking about the movie, and at one point, it was probably 40 minutes, 50 minutes into it, I turned to say something to them, and at the start of the movie, there was like 8, 9 girls in there with me.
Mm-hmm.
Turn and say something. There are those 2 girls. They all just got up and left. And one of them goes, maybe we should turn this off and do something else. And I'm like,
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, given some of the subject matter, because you're still early on in the movie when you were watching it at this point, that even at that point, people were escaping me. Yes, once you get into some of the subject matter later on and some of the things she says when she's possessed.
You know what she did?
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
Holy cow. Yeah, I mean, that I think was the thing that stuck out to me most, as far as like, I get it was the kind of the originator of this exorcism, type of movie, and it's kind of the gold. I don't know if you want to say gold standard, but that's what I would say is the gold standard of what you look at for those. But I think what shocked me most was, yeah, I'm sure back in the day it was horrific, obviously everything they saw, but it was more some of the graphic. When she's possessed, the sexual stuff she's saying is like, that was the thing. I'm like, this is probably more than anything why this movie stuck out and does stand the test of time, because even the stuff she's saying is still pretty gruesome for now. Like that's the thing.
shocking.
Yeah, like it's still, yeah. I'm by no means, we talked about this earlier, I'm by no means a pearl clutcher by any means. Like, oh my God, what about the children? That type of thing. But it was like, wow. I mean, it gets its R. I mean, it definitely gets its R rating.
Yeah, it is. I'm shocked that, Linda Blair's mom
Yeah.
would allow
yeah,
her, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Her agent overlooked her, didn't send her out there as it. Her mom went to the studio herself and had her try out, and she got the part that
Oh, wow.
way by
Wow.
going past her agent. And I'm just like, okay, I know she doesn't actually say a lot of the words because it's another actress who that wound up being a controversy because Linda Blair got the nod for Best Supporting Actress,
But
but the whatever, McClellan or something like that is her last name.
Okay.
Missed it by that much.
She was the voice, and she felt like she should have been. I don't know. I can agree with that in a way, but I also say Linda Blair's performance itself, if it was a silent movie, her performance was solid.
I mean, it's not that the words don't matter, but if she's not a good performer and doesn't do the job she does, the words or the ADR or the voiceover doesn't come across as well. You know, it's like she sings real well to him, acts real well to it. I mean, overall, I mean, I think that's the thing. There are definitely issues here, but that was one of the things that we commented when we first started watching. And granted, some of it could have been updates to the print and all sorts of different things, but like it looks really good for the age that it is. Like I said, being now 50 years old, that's wow. Okay, I just realized that I don't know why I hadn't put that together, but just realized that that it looks as good as it does, and also that the effects look as good as they do. So I bring that up only to say that, not to get us necessarily started on effects, but to say that I think she did a fantastic job working within something that I think is more commonplace today as all the things they would have had to do, and to work in a world of completely practical effects.
Dime, why you do this to me? Please, Dime. I'm afraid. Είσαι πολύ κουρασμένος. Να πας στο κρεβάτι σου.
You're not my mother!
And that you're not gonna be the person voicing these words, but somebody else is. And to act to that, I think you've got to. I get what the person who did the voiceover is saying, but you got to give her credit. I mean, it would be the same thing. So do we give Best Actor Oscars to people that do voiceover work in cartoons? No, we always give the award to the animators because, well, they had to make it come across. So I get what the voiceover actress is saying, but come on, in my opinion.
Now, okay, since you touched on it, the special effects, I'm pretty sure would have been a nod for some type of Oscar. It was not. This did have 10 Oscars, and won 2 of them. One was for the screenwrite of a original material from outside source.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
one.
We're going to touch on that in a sec, but you
Exactly.
keep going with
and
your
the
point.
other
Keep going with
one
your point, though.
was music.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which was interesting because you mentioned that it had the sound of.
Well, yeah, as we were watching it, it has the sound of Halloween.
Halloween.
It's like Corey turns, he's like, when's Michael Myers going to show up?
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those were the 2 Oscars that it got.
Gotcha.
And I guess it wasn't the music; it was the sound effects.
Gotcha.
What it won was for sound.
I don't know. Let's transition into some of the challenges, and I'll let you start because we know I'll go on and on forever. We'll have to cut me for time.
It is the pacing.
Yeah,
and so I mean, as I was given the story about the birthday party and all the girls leaving. As I got to the point, in my mind, I kept always thinking it was the scary part. But honestly, it could have been that it just took forever to get started. And I also put it in my notes like the guy, if he was around, but at that time, it would have helped. But the guy could have taken lessons from Quentin Tarantino if he's going to do pointless conversations.
Well, I get passes to the best shows in town. Mrs. K, though, she gets tired, never likes to go.
It's too bad.
Yeah, I hate to go alone. I love to talk,
Because
film,
Tarantino does pointless conversations that are entertaining, and you stay in the movie. These pointless conversations that just take you completely out of it, and you're ready for the next step.
Bingo. I think what my feeling was on it is that, and why I kind of made that comment that we'll come back to it about whatever it was, best adapted screenplay that it won.
I would agree.
Is this comes from a time frame, one, it's a certain time frame as far as when movies were being made, that a lot of movies from this time kind of have this slow pacing and a little bit too much stuff in it that could have been edited out. But some of the problem of this is because when you watch it and you're thinking about The Exorcist, does anybody really care about, in watching this or future Exorcists, about the person doing the exorcism?
No.
No, it's about the person who's possessed, usually. So it's like, why is this called The Exorcist? Well, it's based off of a book. It follows The Exorcist through. So yes, sometimes when you're adapting a book, you have to change it up, because I guess that would be my contention. You know, I'm not saying, because I don't know if it's the new one is like a reboot, requel, or it's a continuation.
Yeah, a requel is what it would be, because everybody's in it pretty much.
Okay.
Except for Karris.
So it's in a way a continuation of the series, right? You know, right, and everything.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm losing my point here in my head. Of course, that's what I'll do. Oh no, I was going to say. No, I know what I was going to say. It's a requel. So yes, it's a requel, or it's basically it's a sequel or continuation of the series. And I guess what I would say to any of you out there watching this is, you really only, if you want to get what you need to know for the most part, watch about the last hour to 45 minutes. Because really so much of like the first half to 2/3 of the movie is just giving you way too much backstory about some of these characters.
It was like being in purgatory, waiting for the movie to
Yeah.
start. You're just like, come on, can we just get to the movie?
Yeah.
And then I even read, and I think it was interesting, but the actual exorcism
Yeah.
lasted 9 minutes.
Yeah. No.
And it's like, that was a little too long, and just most of the entire dialogue was,
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ.
It goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
so I can see, looking back at it for its time,
Yeah.
why it's so revered and it's considered a classic, considered a masterpiece for that time. Yes, but it would not make any grounds today.
But I don't know why we had to see Max von Sydow's character uncover that artifact at the beginning.
The only thing that was interesting with Sydow, how do you say
Max
his-
von Sydow, yeah. I think
Sydow's
it's how you say it.
character is the fact that he was only 44 years old when he filmed that,
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
the makeup they used on him. If you look at him now,
I know that's
it's just like,
Okay.
holy cow!
First off-
you truly went into the future with him.
Yeah, first off, good for you for doing research, because I hadn't done much for it. I went in blind. Well, I mean, I'd watched it once before, but went in blind as far as that. But that's what my thinking was watching. I didn't say this to you. I'm like, boy, he's been old for how long? So yes, to know that, yes, you gotta give the makeup department credit, because you couldn't tell. It didn't look it, and then you have to give him a credit for the fantastic acting job he did to be a
Perform that
44-year-old,
age,
essentially
yeah.
doddering old fool. He's not a fool, but
Right.
kind of he's infirmed and he's about on the last of his legs, everything. So
On the ritual, the large one. I believe we should begin. Do you want to hear the background of the case first, Father? Why?
yeah, no, that's a lot of credit. The other scene that I was just like, I don't get why this is in here. It's the scene at the dinner party, which I mentioned, which made me think about that when the movie was made, how long it had been since World War II. But still, it was a scene at the dinner party where her Regan's mom, her director or whatever is at the party, and he's going after one of her servants about being a Nazi.
Damn butchering Nazi pig.
How the hell makes you? I kill you.
And it was like, it was like, it had nothing germane to this, even to The Exorcist. It didn't do anything germane to the story. It was like it was.
Well,
it
it was
needed-
probably more Tito than anything. Maybe a little bit of Michael or Janet. But
Yes. Okay. It's all about the Jackson 5. No, Janet wasn't part of the Jackson 5. Although I guess it could have been about Janet. But yeah, yeah, you're making fun of me knowing big words. Fine.
It doesn't make you smart.
If you were to make this movie today, it wouldn't be the movie that it is from 1973, because there would be so much that would go to the cutting room floor. There'd be so many different ways you would reimagine it and move it around. And
I think if we watch the new one, that's what I'm wanting to know. Do they dive into it quicker? Do they I'm afraid they might go overboard with the gore, because I thought
Right.
the gore
yeah,
in this was plenty strong enough, even though, yes, the split pea soup is still kind of
well,
funny, which
yeah,
which is hilarious also on that part, because when Karris gets hit,
oh yeah,
Father Karris gets hit in the face
yeah,
with it, he was truly angry about it. So
Oh,
the
yeah?
expression on his face was true anger and disdain, because the prop department was supposed to hit him in the chest, and it hit him in the
gotcha.
face.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can imagine being upset if I were him.
No, I think that's. I think I've touched. I don't want to go too much far. I think we probably should come in for a landing here.
I suppose yes, we need to bring this in for a landing.
Yeah. So with the new structure, in a sense, that
Yeah.
we're just diving straight into
Yeah.
things. Did you actually have a? Did you go through a rating?
I didn't go through a
system?
rating. I guess here's what I would say to everybody out there in the wider world watching us is, if you haven't seen it, watch it just to see it for what it is, meaning that it's kind of the originator of this genre. But if you want to just kind of get caught up with, I think, what you really need to know, watch about the last hour of it and you're covered. So if I were giving it a truly critical score, I'd probably tear it apart, and it's probably somewhere in the 40s or 50s, but I understand its place in history. So it's kind of hard to completely tear it apart and go, it's a movie of its time. So you have to give it some leeway there. And like I said, fast forward to the last hour and I think you'll be covered.
I was thinking more, if I were to be giving it a score, I was a little bit higher than you. I'd be in the 50s to 60s, but it would definitely be the art direction, the sound effects, which it did win for, and the performances. As the story, if it's your typical, well, for us now, it's your
Right.
typical. Back then,
Yeah,
I guess
not as much.
I don't know. I'll possibly watch this again in the future, but it's going to be a long time from now.
I think now that I've watched it again, I don't need to. I probably won't again unless it's, yes, I really somehow need to go back and catch something specific for future movies of it.
It might
I
be
guess,
if we do a commentary. Of
Yeah,
watching
exactly,
it.
exactly.
So,
yeah.
So, there's our review of Exorcist. So until next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.